Well, if you're a gardener living on Kodiak Island, you know how difficult it can be to maintain that dream garden. Well, on today's program, we're joined by Kodiak Island resident Marion Owen, who's been writing a gardening column in the Kodiak Mirror for the past 26 years. She's realised that to maintain a garden in Kodiak Island takes a great deal of planning. And on today's program, she joins us from Kodiak Island to talk about the steps that you need to take to plan the perfect garden in Kodiak Island. Hello, Marion, and welcome to the program.
Hi, Ken. Thank you.
So, Marion, take us back to the start. I've just got some images here of your garden when you first started some 35 years ago, and you've transformed that space into what is this space here today. And over that period of time, you've helped a great many people. You've actually run workshops in your garden where you've taught people the art of gardening. And I understand that you're about to do another gardening course, but in a difference. You're actually going to visit people in their homes and actually help them plan their garden. Why are you taking this extra step of visiting people and helping them plan a garden?
That's a good question, Ken. And when people come to visit our garden, one of the first things they'll ask is, how do you get a garden like this? And I tell them, gardening is a process. It's not like a rock and roll star overnight sensation. And what people see in our garden today took a lot of trial and error and mucking around in the dirt, and that's how I got the garden where it is today. However, Ken, it wasn't until I had a garden plan that I had a clear path to what steps I needed to take. And that's what I tell people. In order to be successful, you have to have a plan.
Yeah, because I know in my garden, it is so easy. You go along to the garden centre, you see all these beautiful plants, you watch YouTube videos, your friends give you advice. But over the years, I would say that my garden is not what I would call a dream garden, it's called a hodgepodge. So my understanding is in this course that you're running on Kodiak Island, you're actually going to be going into people's homes. Firstly, in your own garden, I understand you're spending 2 days teaching them the A to Z of gardening. Then you're actually going to go into their home and with them over several hours, work out the steps necessary to create a plan. Why do you think this extra stage of going to their garden is so important?
Well, Ken, there's a lot of ideas out there, how to garden ideas. And people, you can go to the library, you look at books, like you said, study YouTube videos, magazines, but it isn't until someone actually comes over to your garden that you really understand, wow, it's like exciting wow, because then someone can tell you on site what needs to happen next. For example, build a raised bed over here, divide this perennial, add compost over there. Where does the snow melt first? Where does the summer sun track against, or where does the summer sun track across your sky? And these are the kind of things that it isn't until someone comes to visit your garden that you really see what has to happen. And that's why I'm so excited about this course, because I'm going to go to people's gardens and meet with them one-on-one and help them develop a plan that fits their garden.
Well, to give them a taste of what they're going to experience in their own garden, let's just take a look at this photograph. This is some 35 years ago. This is your garden, and you transformed that into this. Now, when you first looked at this scene 35 years ago, what were the things that motivated you to go from this through to this? Because you just mentioned the fact of raised garden beds. As you can see here, clearly you've got raised garden beds. Why did you take that approach over another alternative?
Can raised beds or raised gardens that are actually boxed in is the ideal way to grow anywhere, but particularly in Kodiak. Our soils are very low in pH. It's a sticky kind of clay, and raised beds have many benefits. They keep dogs and cats out. You can have a fluffier soil. You can plant much deeper, and you can plant your seedlings much closer together and intensify your growing efforts. And you can get more vegetables per square foot.
Now, Marion, over the past 26 years, you've written a weekly garden column. Here we can see one of them, How to Prevent Seedlings from Dying Off. My understanding is in your course, you actually spend 2 days in your own garden. What are some of the things that you're going to be covering? And over the years of having written a column for 26 years, I mean, that's a long time to appear in the local paper on a weekly basis. What are some of the common questions that you think you'll be covering?
I'll be covering questions like what vegetables can you grow in Kodiak? What are the easiest flowers and vegetables to grow? How long can I expect a gardening season? And what do I do about the weather and the rain and the wind? And is it possible to grow melons? I mean, some people ask about that even. So I'm going to cover it all from seed starting to harvest to what you can do with your harvest, how you can extend your harvest into the shoulder seasons, like earlier in the spring all the way into late fall. It's a really exciting collection of topics that we're going to cover in this workshop.
Now, my understanding is because it's such an intense process and you're actually going to visit people in their actual gardens, the program is actually limited to 10 people. It goes for 2 days and then you follow up with a visit to their home where you actually plan with them on site, their own plan. For those people who may miss out on this or who may not get the opportunity, what are some of the tips that you would give them for planning the perfect garden on Kodiak Island?
One thing I would do is first ask yourself, what do you want to grow and who's going to do the work? It's a very important two questions to ask yourself. And then what do you or your household like to eat? What is exposure like where you are? Do you get a lot of shade, a lot of sun? Is it exposed to the real strong nor'easterlies that drive in the rain? Is it a windy spot? Do you want to have play areas for your kids, your grandkids? Do you want a little dog run? These are the kind of things to take into consideration. In addition, where are your outlets? Where does your water come from? Do you want to add a deck, a greenhouse? These are all very valid considerations when you're putting together a garden plan.
And coming into this time of the year, the seasons are going to change. Take us through some of the insights because basically my understanding is in this course, you're going to give people basically a 12-month plan. Give them some insight as to some of the things that they're likely to learn at this course.
It would be like fall, for example. This is what we're experiencing right now. And a lot of people think, oh, well, gardening's done. Not true. Fall is one of the most important seasons to get ready for next spring. So this course will cover not only what to do now in the fall, from making compost and what plants you can keep in your raised beds and which ones you should pull out, diseases, how to order seeds to get ready for next year, what bulbs you should be planting in your garden right now. Those are just a handful of things we'll be covering.
So, Marion, if people want to go to this course, when is it happening? And give us some details on the course.
It's a three-part course, but the first two parts will happen on Saturday, October 1st, and Sunday, October 2nd. And these will be at our garden, and they will run Saturday and Sunday from about noon to 3, depending on how much of a Q&A there is. And there's going to be refreshments, I promise. So it'll be outdoors and indoors and hands-on applications of what I'm talking about. I'll have some little booklets, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. Now, part three is when I go and visit your garden, and that'll be scheduled at the gardener's convenience, and we'll figure out a time when I can come visit.
So, as you can see on the screen, the website, I understand, Marion, is thegardenerscoach.com/Kodiak, and there's a detailed explanation. Well, Marion, Owen, thank you so much for joining us today. So there you have it. If you live on Kodiak Island and you're considering it's time to revamp the garden, it's time to work out a plan for the next 12 months, well, you have the opportunity to join Marion Owen. And as I said, Marion's been writing a column for the Kodiak Mirror for the past 26 years. It's taken her 35 years to establish her garden. So in 3 days, she's going to give you the benefit of all that knowledge. And as you can see, if you go to the link on the screen, gardenerscoach.com/Kodiak, you'll be able to join Marion. And that course is being run on the 1st and 2nd of October. And it is limited to 10 people. So it would be worth getting on the line right now, booking your place and booking your opportunity to transform your garden on Kodiak into your dream garden. I'm Ken Robinson. Thanks for joining us. Bye for now.